Hi everyone, George here, and I'm bringing to you another tips and tactics. Before I go any further, I would like to thank Jason Del Hoyo for participating in the last discussion we had about leader loss task checks and leader loss morale checks. He brought to our attention the source of the conflicting Q&A, which was from Game Squad. So here it is. Perry says from Game Squad. And the first one was, as David Garvin correctly pointed out to me, was from an ASL annual, not the journal as I indicated. So I also want to thank Nikki Bagger for being a loyal fan to this channel, and everyone else as well, for that matter. Right. So with that said, let's go on to today's presentation, which I named Hero or Zero. And the reason why I named it this way is because, first of all, it's catchy. But the purpose of this presentation is to show and try to demonstrate the differences between a hero and a leader. Now, when I first started ASL, since both units were single-man counters, I tended to confuse the two. And as you will probably see by the end of this presentation, there are two distinct units with two different types of characteristics. And knowing those characteristics, you'll know how to use them well. So we'll have some examples as well. Now, in the course of this presentation, if I can continue to confuse hero and a leader, please forgive me. By the way, here's an example of a hero. You guys know him? No? He doesn't like any negative waves. You know who I'm talking about, right? Okay. On to the slide, and with the second slide, I'm going to turn off my video camera so you can see the entire table that I created. All right, here it goes. Right, condition or event is here. We got a leader here, a 9-1 leader, and this is a 1-4-9 hero, and the 1 indicates his inherent firepower, 4 is his normal range, and 9 is his morale. Do both units self-rally? Yes, they do. Yes and yes. Can the unit rally a multi-man counter? Leaders, yes. Heroes, no. Do they break an ELR? A hero, yes, they're capable. No, say that again. A leader can break an ELR. A hero wounds when they break their morale. And the hero is subject to a wound check. A wounded hero that breaks is consequently eliminated. See, I almost went to confuse the two units again. Now, creation. A leader can be created with a snake eyes and a self-rally, which is more or less heat of battle, or a snake eyes in close combat. And if you forget to create a leader after rolling snakes on a close combat, you're shortchanged. And heroes, more often than not, if at all, they're uniquely created by heat of battle, as far as I know. And they can be created pursuant to a single-man counter rolling snakes and rolling the right roll in the heat of battle, and you can end up having a heroic leader. Support weapon use. I'm going to try and give you some examples here. DRM. So his -1 DRM is unique to the unit stacked with the leader. So the leadership DRM is unique to a single hex and subject to the fire from the unit stacked with the leader. If there is a fire group, the leader DRM cannot be used. However, for a hero, the hero DRM is can be used with a fire group. Major difference, right? Already. Prevents cowering. A hero a hero cannot prevent cowering. A leader can. See, I corrected myself there. Only cow. Now, support weapon use. And I said example. Let's try and demonstrate some examples. All right, let's end the uh, PowerPoint, and let's get to the board and get some examples on our table. So let's get some units. So we'll have some Allied British heroes, single man counter. We'll get our one of these units here and a hero. Let's put him here. Okay. And let's give him some squads. And I'm looking for a little bit of an elite unit here. That should suffice. And let's give these guys names. I consider it bad luck not to give them names. So here's Blake. He's a hero. And here's Jones. Well, let's call him Ramsey. Break. Shout out to the illuminating rounds over across the pond. There you go. And now let's put some axes on the board. Our famous 4-6-7s. And a couple of leaders. And some support weapons. And back to the British. Have some support weapons there as well. Okay. LMG. And an HMG for later. And of course, things will not be complete without a good old satchel charge. And perhaps a flamethrower. There you go. That should be sufficient. All right. So let's put, did we? Yeah, we had a LMG. All right. LMG, mandatory wall advantage there. We have 4-5-7, a hero in there, and a 9-1 there. And we have some units here. Let's keep these guys on the side for now, because they're going to serve some examples. Okay, and this guy here will be in a level 2. Here we go. All right. So first example. We have a hero, an LMG, and a 4-5-7 here. Okay. If they're firing here, their total firepower factors are 6, 7. Right. 4 for the multi-man counter, 2 for the LMG, 1 for the hero. There's a total of 7. We'll go down to 6 on the IFT, and he does get the -1 leadership hero DRM against this fellow. So it would be a 6 up 2 to fire from here to there. Okay. Great. So on the other hand, if they want a fire group, let's remove the moves. If they want a fire group, you have 4 here, 8, 9, 10 with the LMG, 11 with the with the uh, hero, and only the hero in this case can we apply the DRM. The DRM will only come from the hero. It will still be, let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11. So drops down to 8, 8 up 1 to here, applying the hero DRM. Now things would change if there were 2 leaders, clone, okay, there are 2 leaders, 1 in each hex, and I'm stacked with a hero here. Now the total DRM is a cumulative minus 2. -1 for each leader, -1 being the lowest DRM for each leader in the fire group, and another -1 for the hero, for a total of -2 against my attack force here. Now, what would happen if, let's put Ramsey here. What would happen if I'm firing from here and the hero is there? So in this case, we have 6 firepower factors up 2 because the hero can only apply his hero DRM 4 hexes away. So since this fellow is outside of the normal range of Blake, Blake cannot apply his negative DRM. And of course, his firepower factor would be only 1. Right. Okay, I hope we got that straight. Now, the other thing you need to know about a hero is this dude is stealthy. Okay? So if we are in this situation here, let's put in, and let's say these guys are in a close combat situation. Okay? What happens here is, let's do it this way. So first of all, they're in a building, so they have to roll for an ambush. And what do I have here is a British squad, an LMG, Blake, and a German squad. In this case, I believe in close combat, Blake would get to apply a -1 for his hero DRM, and most likely -1 because Blake is stealthy. Now, I'm not too sure if that would apply, but he is stealthy. So I don't see why the -1 would not apply. And -1 for his heroic DRM. So it's a cumulative -2 for the British player on the ambush rule. So basically, the moral of the story is think twice before going to close combat with a hero. So let's roll. Let's say the German player is the attacker first. 5, 6, -2 is 4, so there's no ambush. But conceivably, I think the probability of getting an ambush against you if you go into close combat with a hero is quite high. Yeah. So what I just summed up can be found in Alpha 15.24. Now, the other thing that you need to know about heroes is they seem to be quite efficient at delivering special weapons, right? Okay, let's put these guys here, and let's give him a DC charge. Now, with a hero having a DC charge, he'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. He hasn't used to place the DC charge. He hasn't used all his movement factors because he has 6 movement factors. So he can conceivably assault move there and throw the DC charge. using assault movement. Of course, in this case, this guy will have an 8 down 2, -1 for his leader DRM, and -1 for moving in the open. So an 8 down 2, let's see what that gives me. That's a 4 on the 8, that's pretty bad. 4 on the 8 is a 2 morale check, and he needs 7 or less to pass. He breaks. So now what happens is he wounds, and you do a wound check, he passes. So technically, at this stage of the game, I think, and I could be wrong because he only had 3 movement factors, that DC charge stays there. I could be wrong about that because he had already placed the DC charge after before he wounded, but I think I'm doing it right. Like I said, I could be wrong. Comment below if you think if I didn't do it right. But as you can see, he has a better chance of placing a DC charge than any other unit involved. If the squad went over, he couldn't use assault movement to use his DC charge, and that would have been a -3 DRM. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. That squad cannot assault move and place the charge, but the hero can. Now, let's say he did, though. Let's say he did. Let's say he did not wound. He did. Boink. He just got a gift delivered by Santa Blake here. Oh, I can put on my video so you can see my handsome face. He did, right? He cannot apply his -1 DRM to a DC attack. And that is in Alpha 15.23, towards the bottom of the paragraph. Yep, so that's heroes and DCs. You want to stack a flamethrower with the hero. So if the Germans decide to attack him, the hero gets a +1 benefit, -1 for the flamethrower, +2 for the wall, but the squad gets the +2 benefit. So you have the squad protected. The hero can withstand fire because he has a 9 morale. Again, if the hero decides to use the flamethrower, he cannot use his negative DRM with the attack. As a matter of fact, no leader can use a DRM, hit their DRM using the flamethrower. That's why the little yellow triangle is on the flamethrower counter. That's what it stands for. The weapon cannot be used with a heroic or a leader DRM. So I covered that. That's good. Oh, now support weapon use, which is interesting. Here's where the goodies come in. All right. So for that, we'll use a what are we going to use? We're going to use a medium machine gun to demonstrate something. Okay. Well, let's put the medium machine gun here. And let's give it to Blake. Let's put these guys here and put that there in reserve. The other thing that we're going to use is gun, and we want a 76 mortar. No, we want an AT gun, AT gun there, and we want to use not 40, a 25L. All right, so this is going to be our second example. All right, turn its covered arc here. Okay, first things first. Blake has a MMG. He can opt to use it as a leader, which would be at 2 firepower factors, and he can use his -1 DRM. The other choice he can have is to use the MMG at full strength and add a +1 to his IFT role and the -1 leadership DRM, hero DRM, you see, and use it at a 4 up 2 or 2 firepower factors up 1, which is really remarkable. Whereas a leader doesn't have that choice. A leader having that MMG would have to use it at 2 firepower factors. He could not apply his negative DRM unless he's stacked with another leader. And I'm not too sure if they can use their leadership DRM in this case, but then in this case they can opt for full firepower factors against there. Now the other thing that the hero can do is he can use this gun. But since if this gun had it was greater than 82 millimeters, and it's not turreted, he would not be able ordinarily to change this cover to arc, providing they don't have an M number greater than or equal to 9. So in this case, he can conceivably use this gun, but incur the captured use penalties as outlined in Alpha 2111 and Alpha 2112. Now, the other thing that a hero is unique to a hero is, let's go to the good old medium tanks and pick up a nice M4, this one. The other thing that a hero can do is this bad boy here is the only unit that can use and fire the AMG. So you can have a crew buttoned up with a hero on top of the tank using the MMG. So you're protecting your crew, the hero's out there exposed and using the MMG. Again, it brings me back to the good old movie Kelly's Heroes, that you have Clint Eastwood saying, "Yeah, you're going to take on that tiger in the middle of the village because I'm going to guide you to him while I'm on top of the turret, telephoning you exactly what the heck is going on." It's really remarkable. Now, we have to give some respect to heroes as well. So here's my other example. You got a 457 on second level. He has an HMG and a hero. No, a leader. Guys, I think I'm going to confuse you more than making things more clear. Now, that HMG has a range of 16 hexes. And without the leader, that squad alone cannot shoot that HMG beyond the 16 hex range. So let's take a quick line of sight check here. I'm holding down control, level 2, and they're limited to this radius here. Oh, bearing any line of sight obstacles. Beyond that, they can't fire it without a leader being stacked on it. And if the leader is stacked on top of it, then you're firing at those units as if they were concealed. The rule reference to that is Alpha 9.4. Coffee, guys. Forgot to mention that you can view this video at 1.5, 1.25. So that's interesting. And A 9.4 makes specific mention uniquely to a leader, not a hero. So I do not believe a hero is capable of allowing you to fire an HMG beyond its normal range. It's leaders only. Interesting. In addition, Alpha 4.12 for the leader bonus movement factors, it's only a leader that can impart the movement factors, um, the extra movement factors to you. I don't believe a single man counter can do that. I don't believe a hero can do that as well. Well, all right. Now, one thing that is similar is that these boys are both elites as per A Alpha 1.11. He's elite, and so is this guy. I hope you're not more confused than you were before after watching this video. But um, I'll tell you the rule references one more time. Alpha 15.24, Alpha 15.23, Alpha 9.4, Alpha 4.12, Alpha 1.11. And if you want to review uh, the captured use of a weapon so you know how a hero can use a gun, it's Alpha 21.11 and Alpha 21.12. I did mention I was going to mention Commissars. Okay, so single man counter, we're looking at Russians, and typically uh, this bad boy here, and I think this is a really ugly counter, by the way, is a Commissar. So let's give him a name. Commissar Ivan. How typical and stereotypical, eh? And let's put this fellow here. Let's clone them. Now let's break them. And don't break that guy. Now typically, what the heck did I do here? Okay, hold on. Break the squads, but not Ivan. Otherwise, we can't rally them. Okay, typically, their morale is increased by 1 because Ivan is there. They're not subject to DM in rallying. And now let's rally them. So I need 3 8s. 1, 2, 3. Now, first guy rallies. Second guy rallies. Let's say they have an ELR 5. Rally, 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 rally. And broken units cannot ELR in any case, but he rallies. This guy did not make his rally. And typically what people tell you is that now this guy is eliminated. Well, that's not what the rule says. What this guy does is since he didn't rally, break him, he goes down a level. So he ELRs to a conscript. Now, if you have a broken conscript that cannot lower in level, in experience level beyond conscript, right? And he doesn't rally with the commissar, then he's eliminated. So if you have an elite unit, it will go to level 1, level 2, and then conscript. And once he does not rally as a conscript, then the commissar shoots him. It's not immediate. So the rule reference there is alpha. Typically I have these bookmarked, but then the bookmarks accumulate. Alpha 25.222 as the old aspirin 222. A commissar must attempt to rally broken units in its location. A unit is immune to DM status while rallied by a commissar. In addition to the morale level increase, in addition to the morale of my periods, any MMC which fails to rally under the direction of a commissar is replaced by the next lower quality unit of its size. If already the lowest quality, a squad is casualty reduced. It's not even outright eliminated, it's casualty reduced. A broken crew, SMC, or half squad that cannot be replaced is eliminated. So I forgot to mention that once you become a conscript, you are a full squad, size squad. You're still not outright eliminated. You're casualty reduced and then outright eliminated as a half squad or a crew or a single man counter. So that's the tall and short of it. We're in 31 minutes past the 30-minute mark, and I've rambled already too long. The last thing I want to do is I'll pause so I can switch the page. I'll be back in a second. Well, it's an honor and a privilege to have Grumple Jones as a subscriber. Now, it's an honor and a privilege to have you all as a subscriber, but Grumple Jones is pretty special. I'll tell you why he's pretty special. I noticed that YouTube notified me that this gentleman subscribed to the channel, and it's an honor and a privilege. And the reason why is because, to be quite frank with you, in doing research on how to play certain scenarios, I would go to his blog to see what he did and how he played the scenario. And he also has a very light sense of humor, okay? And he does his research. He shares his knowledge with everyone. And like I said, I like his AARs because his AARs are cardboard based and they have pretty pictures with lots of arrows and whatnot. I'm going to copy the URL and share it in the description. So here is, he's doing his research, and here's his AAR. Look at this. So he's taking pictures, he's editing the pictures, doing these perfect lines. Which scenario is this? And he's providing great information. Check that out. So it's a very interesting blog, very entertaining, and filled with information and tips and tactics. Analysis, well, you could say it's an analytical as well, but I don't like analysis. It implies, the first four letters of analysis imply something really detrimental. So, there you go. And like I said before, I like the lighthearted humor as well. So I'll put a link to his blog. And again, I'd like to end the video by thanking all the subscribers. Remarkably enough, this channel has grown, and it's really a big morale booster, personal morale booster. So I'd like to thank you all. Now, before I forget, I need to mention something else about Hasmo and the second scenario pack, which is Civil War. I've heard from Chuck, that there's some negative vibes out there about the balance of regarding some of the scenarios in the second scenario pack. I'll tell you something. I've done the scenario starter files for the second scenario pack, and once you do that exercise, you get an appreciation of how small and concise the scenarios are. Um, I think they're more or less historically accurate, although I did criticize the +2 modifier for the buildings as opposed to +3. But, sometimes you got to tweak these rules in order to increase playability and not only make it realistic, but also an enjoyment to play. And from my perspective, even if there are one or two victories in Roar, it means that, there are a few people out there that did play the scenario right and did get it right in every aspect, and perhaps the lack of balance might be exaggerated. Case in point, Hill 621.5, I believe. That's a scenario about the last few weeks of the war, Operation Migration, I believe. And you start with a wave of Russians and a few units that have to take a task check at the start or a morale check in the classic game. And it looks like it's almost impossible for the German to win. But that remains in the history of Squad Leader one of the most often played scenarios there is. And I cannot think of a scenario that has worse balance than that one. Yet, in certain situations, you have German victories. And when you take up that challenge and win as the player that's not favored to win, I think you get more satisfaction out of that than before. With that said, I got to relay to you one short story in the course of my life. Back in the days before the pandemic, in our office, we were a software development company, and we had a foosball table. And I got to play with one of the best players there. We were on top, always on top. And the glares that I would get from the other players, the attitude I would get from the other players, being on top, being in top position, you were everybody's number one adversary, and you felt it. So from that point forward, I said, look, I like to win perhaps 1 times out of 10, because if I win 1 time out of 10, that makes the victory even more sweeter than before and harder for my opponent. So with that said, again, thank you all for subscribing. Have a great weekend and see you next week. Knock on wood. Take care.